Happy Tuesday! Last week we talked about Algeria, which was up here on the northern coast of Africa. This week we're going to be talking about Angola, which is down here on the southwestern coast. It's this country here, and then there's a tiny little bit of it up here that we'll talk about in a minute. Angola is roughly 1,246,499 square kilometers, which is equivalent to about 481,530 square miles. In 2012, the population was estimated to be just over 18 million. It has 1,600 kilometers, or about 1,000 miles of coastline. That's right here along the southern Atlantic Ocean. The coastal plain runs anywhere between a very narrow, about 10 kilometers, to a broader 100 kilometers or so right along here, narrow down here, and then it widens out about here, which is also where the Congo River is. We'll talk about that too. But it goes in and then very abruptly rises into a series of stepped plateaus beginning about 1,000 meters or 3,300 feet, and then averaging at their average 1,828 meters or 6,000 feet, and then the highest peak in there is right around 2,200 meters. There are no major lakes, but there are several rivers. A couple of them are constantly fed, like the Congo River, which was called the Zaire River from 1971 to 1997. The Congo River, like I said, is right here at the northern border. And then there's also the Kwanza River that runs from right about here, then down along to about there. Those are the two that are most navigable by boats. The rest of the rivers in Angola really aren't easy to navigate. The other two types that I was going to talk about are the seasonally fed rivers, which are rivers that usually only run strongly in the rainy season, based on all the summer rains, and then the temporary ones that are just there after very heavy rains and during really, really wet weather. Part of the country, the province of Cabinda, is that little part that I talked about right up here. That's separated from the main body of Angola by roughly 37 miles or 59 kilometers of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Because of the varied terrain, the country of Angola has 5 distinct climate zones. The coastal area here has a warm desert climate. It changes to a warm steppe climate as it rises up and then into the northern part of the coast and in the interior. Central Angola and the highlands has a more moderate climate. A little bit further to the north and the east, it has a slightly warmer climate, and then the northern part of Angola is a tropical savanna climate. Most of the country experiences just 2 seasons: winter, when it's dry and relatively cool, and summer, when it's warm, muggy, and humid. The exception to that is the desert coastal region, which has an extremely arid climate year-round. The official language is Portuguese, and that surprised me until I found out that for roughly 400 years, the Portuguese held a presence in Angola. They were initially there for trade and eventually were there to exploit the people and the resources. They didn't meet the requirements of effective occupation to claim it as a Portuguese colony until roughly 1920. Then after World War II, a move for Angolan independence began, and in 1975, after 14 years of war, Portugal did grant them their independence. Immediately following that, a civil war began, and although it ended in 2002, the country is still recovering. Next week, we're going to talk about Benin, so hopefully we'll see you next Tuesday.